We have our first Jeremy Swayman update in quite some time, and probably the biggest of this entire saga. We now know the deadline that the Bruins will sign Jeremy Swayman. So we're going to be talking about all of this, all of the news that came out, some incredible reports, and some major scary ones that involve a potential trade. But we need to break all of this down, especially some reports that we've seen, some play from what we're seeing in the preseason from our two goalies currently, and what that means for Jeremy Swayman. Before we get into all of this news, however, we know 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Boston Bruins news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button. Join us here on the channel as we cover everything Boston Bruins related, and you'll get all your news from this team. But we have to get into our first topic here, which is the latest on Jeremy Swayman. And one of our top reporters in the NHL, and Pierre LeBrun, has spoken out and kind of broken some major news touching on when we may see this Jeremy Swayman contract come, why it's not happening yet, what time it may occur, and everything like that. So this is what we're going to see here first from Scott McLaughlin before we go into Pierre LeBrun. LeBrun says on Swayman's negotiations, ongoing dialogue, status quo still not there, as both sides are still focused on the long-term deal, and that he gets the sense that opening night was more of a deadline than the start of camp. So this is a huge revelation, what we're seeing here now. A lot of us, including myself, I am not to be taken away from this as well. We're really, kind of stressing out about the fact that Jeremy Swayman was not signed before camp and that he would miss camp. But according to Pierre LeBrun, Jeremy Swayman and the Boston Bruins, their deadline was kind of the first regular season game rather than the whole situation going on at the beginning of training camp, which is good to know now, looking back on the fact that we really hadn't seen anything at all coming from either party at the beginning of training camp, a few days before training camp, and it really seemed like there was no effort to make it happen. But that seems to be the plan from the Boston Bruins. It seems to be what the whole situation ongoing was planned to be. So that is a huge relief, I guess we could say now, but there's still lots more to go. The fact now that we have the beginning of the regular season as a deadline means that we're going to have to see some work being done very, very quickly. We have just about 2 weeks until the beginning of the regular season, so that leaves 2 weeks for something to get kind of figured out, something to get way closer between the two parties, and the price, really, that's the biggest part that we're missing out on. Term seems to be pretty unanimously the 8 years from both sides. We know that Jeremy Swayman is pushing to get that. We know the Boston Bruins want him at 8 years, and a lot of stuff just really needs to line up for these two to happen. But this is what we have from Pierre LeBrun. He also provided a significant update. NHL Insider reported that Bruins have set an internal deadline to get Swayman signed by their season opener on October 8th against the Florida Panthers. So that seems to be the Bruins' deadline. They want to have this done by then, and we're not receiving any information about what could happen afterwards. What could happen after the fact that if we do end up going to the regular season opener without Jeremy Swayman, we have Korpisalo and Brandon Busty, who we're gonna be having a video on in a couple videos from now, whether it's the next one or a few, discussing what's going on in the preseason, because they're quite honestly surprising some people. Jeremy Swayman might be kind of left behind, left in the dust, if this does not happen by the opener, which is quite an interesting thought looking at it now. And this is a much more detailed quote here from Pierre LeBrun himself as well in this whole the whole time that he was saying this stuff. The key thing is that Jeremy Swayman is still very focused on getting an 8-year deal. That's still the number one priority for him, and the Bruins are looking at a long-term deal as well. But you can't have the New York Rangers goaltender Igor Shesterkin discussion without having Swayman tied into the sense that they are getting different negotiations. Swayman, in terms of collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, isn't at the same leverage point because he won't be a UFA at the end of the year. So Shesterkin has the higher leverage point. And we've seen that Igor Shesterkin is looking at around the number of $12 million, which is quite honestly insane. No chance he should be able to get that. Very good goalie, don't get me wrong, but $12 million for a goaltender at this point is quite a lot, especially with the New York Rangers, who have a few players that they're going to have to pay. But having this with Jeremy Swayman, having these conversations now, if we do see an Igor Shesterkin contract before a Jeremy Swayman one, that will really dictate what this Swayman contract could look like, whether it is on the good side, whether it's on the bad side. Just say Igor Shesterkin gets $10 million. We know that Jeremy Swayman won't be getting $10 million. That's a big factor in that as well. But if we do see this $12 million for Shesterkin and the New York Rangers just decide to kind of destroy their cap space and destroy the team on the internal side of things, we may see Swayman get a $10 million, but I don't want to go too far into that because I have no right to speak on that. I don't know what's going on in it. Neither do any of us. Really has not much has come out about this. But move on to our little next screenshot, I guess we could say, another topic, kind of the Swayman update. The trade that I spoke about. What could happen here? And from some crazy quotes, we do have a few reports from some insiders that if we do not see a Swayman contract by, mid-season, the deadline, December 1st deadline, we could see a Jeremy Swayman trade. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to happen because I really hope it doesn't. Is it possible? Yes. And the Bruins, do you think they do it? Perhaps, but I think there's a very, very slim chance that this happen. This is another quote that we have here from Jimmy Murphy. He says, I think it's really it's going to the December 1st. I think this is going to December 1st. I really think if we don't see something in the next 2 weeks, it's in for the long haul. Now, I don't know if I totally agree with this. 2 weeks is quite some time. That's the deadline the Bruins have set for themselves. That's kind of the whole process of now what we're thinking as Bruins fans, seeing the Swayman contract. But I don't think if we don't get something done by that regular season opener, that we're going to be waiting until December 1st. We have some leverage at this point that the Bruins goaltending could turn out very good. Jonas Korpisalo impressed in his first game. Quite honestly, played very, very well. Brandon Bussi, we know he's a good goalie. We're going to see some more games from both of these two as well, who are likely going to be our 1 and 2 to start the season. And if they play good, Jeremy Swayman may be kind of left in the dust, maybe kind of forgotten about. That way, Swayman might want to get into the game again, take a lower contract, knowing that, we're not relying on him anymore. A lot of things could happen from now to 2 weeks' time. So even if we don't see it in 2 weeks, I really don't think that they're going to see this for too long, or see him sit out for too long. But let's move on to our next screenshot. Here's the goaltending cap space. So I'll pull this up on the bigger screen. As you can see, Carey Price right now is the highest at 10.5. Although he's not playing, the highest in the goaltending market currently active is Sergei Bobrovsky, and the only one currently at $10 million. So is he better than Vasilevsky? Is he better than Hellebuyck? Is he better than Bobrovsky? No. We've spoken about that before here. We don't think that we're going to see a $10 million contract, but 8.5. That would slot him in right at Hellebuyck and right above Elias Lindholm, which I think is a fair space for him at this very moment. And, we're going to see him get better. The cap's going up and everything like that. So these goalies are probably going to get new contracts before we see Swayman get a new contract after the one that we're going to see next. Kind of confusing there, but bear with me. And, right now, I think that is a fair spot, kind of at the top of this list, but not the number one position. So just kind of a little breakdown once again to what we're seeing. Another quote here from Daily Faceoff. I would not be shocked if he's not signed by open net. And that's from Kobe Cohen with the latest from Jeremy Swayman's situation in Boston. And another kind of mixed opinion here. We have a lot of people saying they want to get the deadline. A lot of people think that it won't happen. And really at this point, we have no idea what will. Depends on what happens. Depends on Swayman. And there's just a whole bunch to break down. But what we're seeing from some more stuff here. Once again, another screenshot. And this is from Dakota Spin on Twitter, Dakota and Braintree, and it says, breaking. I was told the inside source very close to Jeremy Swayman that it is very likely if the Bruins goalie does not get a new contract, he will be holding out or be traded. More details in the video on what he's looking for, 8x8 million. So the video kind of goes on to discuss this whole thing, go a bit deeper into it, but kind of crazy that we do see the trade word involved with Jeremy Swayman if a contract is not done. Now, I don't know how reliable he is. He has a following of kind of all the Boston sports teams, Patriots, Celtics, kind of all that, Bruins, and but still, Red Sox. And we're going to see some very interesting stuff, I guess is the easiest way to put it here. And if a trade does go down, if the goaltending is working out in our favor in the regular season with Bussi and Korpisalo, maybe we do. I want to know what you guys think about this because I still really have no idea how I feel about the Swayman trade. I don't want to see it, obviously, but if it comes to a point where it's a business decision and the business decision needs to be made, I guess there's really nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it in the first place anyways, but hope for our contract. So let me know what you think about all of this news. And obviously, the opening deadline, 2 weeks' time, we're still going to see a few more updates between them, but I want to know what you guys think about this latest one and about the trade reports. Kind of insane to think about now and where we were at not even 4 months ago, but, it's a business. I understand that, and there's not really much we can do. But that's all I got for this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, and then hit the sub button as well. Like I said, let me know what you think. A lot of crazy news for Jeremy Swayman, but I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.